I am beyond excited for today's build. Judy, Sparky, and Roy are all lucky to have a loving home. They were all rescued by Kennedy, a vet tech here in Asheville. Kennedy has had a rough year with personal losses, medical issues of his own, and a mandate from his doctor to get more exercise.
His doctor was telling him that he needed more cardio in his life. He wanted a bike that he could use to pull his dogs in a trailer.
But did he understand what that entails?
Absolutely not. I don't even know the last time the guy's ridden a bike.
It was Kennedy's boss, Dr. Keto, who brought his story to my attention, and he's gonna need some help. So we have 3 rescue dogs and their deserving human who all want to ride. It sounds as simple as a bike with a trailer, but we have a few details to work out. He rescues dogs, we're gonna rescue this bike. From what? Well, me. I turned this Salsa Timberjack into a single-speed mountain bike, and then I took it apart and made it into a tactical commuter bike. Then I put different wheels on it and turned it into a Velcro climbing bike, which didn't work very well. Our Timberjack has been nothing more than a science experiment since day one, and it's time we give it a loving home. But it's also the perfect bike for this because it's very flexible, it has a dropper post for easy mounting and dismounting while towing, and it's a size small. Kennedy is my height, but he's lighter. And actually, that raises an important question. How is he gonna tow an 80-pound Labrador around Asheville with this? But that's no problem at all. We can just build him an e-bike for towing, right? Well, maybe. Let me show you something. Now keep in mind, the whole purpose of this is for Kennedy to get exercise, and on an e-bike like this one, you just turn that throttle and the wheel spins. You can pedal or not. So no problem, we'll leave the throttle off and we'll use pedal assist. Here, we'll even disconnect the chain here. Okay, now the chain's not on there. As long as the cranks are spinning, the motor kicks in. That's not gonna keep you honest. We need to do better for Kennedy. Enter the torque sensing mid-drive. Instead of crank speed, a torque sensor measures how much torque you're applying to the cranks, and the motor responds proportionally. So Kennedy's gonna need to do a little work before it provides him with any assistance. And although torque sensors are not unique to mid-drives can be great for towing because they drive the chain and all the gears, not just the wheel like a hub motor does. So this should be perfect for Kennedy if I can figure out how to install it, power it, and make it not look like an abomination. Let's get that thing cleaned up. So let me show you how this is gonna work. This mid motor goes in here like so. So we've got a slight problem here. It doesn't fit. I can sort of get it to fit, but then it's not gonna be aligned with the bike and there's no way to fix it. We need another bike. Give me some wiggles. Can you give me some wiggles? 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 We used this Cannondale in the head shock video. It's small enough for me to ride it, and so Kennedy should be able to as well. I think the mid-drive will fit in it, and it's got V-brakes, which should provide ample stopping power even when towing. Is this bike as cool as the Timberjack? Actually, it might be. It's got a head shock over here. They don't make these anymore. This one's in good working order. So let's go into the attic, find some parts for this bike, and come up with a new plan. We've got parts. We're gonna wanna check on this first before we get any sort of deep into anything. Yes, we have a fit. So we're gonna put this stuff back on the bench, clean up this frame, and then not make that same mistake again. We need to make sure that we have everything, so let's go over to the workbench. Okay, there's actually not much to this. We have the motor here with 3 wires coming out of it. One goes up to the screen. So there's a screen and a controller that get mounted to the handlebars. Easy. The other one is a wheel speed sensor, and this little sensor is going to go on a spoke, and this is going to get mounted to the chainstay or something, and it's going to sense the wheel. The more complicated one is the last set of wires, the positive and negative. We have to connect this to a battery. I didn't buy this with a battery, and so I think I found one. In theory, this battery should work because it's 48 volts and the system is 48 volts. But this was actually meant for the Revo. So it fits on this kind of weird rail and it plugs into some terminals over there. It's a good, safe battery and everything. I don't want it to become e-waste, but we don't have a way to mount this to the bike or get the power out of the back. Let's start with power delivery. That mid-drive uses an XT60 connector, which I happen to love. So if we take off the back of this battery and access the wire somehow, I think we can put a little pigtail on it with an XT60 connector. There's a bunch of stuff going on here because actually there's a charge port and I don't know, maybe there's a heat sensor or something like that. I'm only concerned with the 2 wires that deliver power to the bike, and I can plainly see which ones they are because they're on the opposite side of the terminals that would connect to the Revo. So we're gonna drill a hole right here. We're going to cut these 2 wires, and then we're going to install our XT60 pigtail, and I'm gonna show you how we'll do it. So this is our XT60 pigtail. I measured it to reach the right distance. We're gonna push it through the hole that we drilled, which we are going to seal up. But first, we don't want there to be stress on the connections if something yanks on this. And so we're gonna add strain relief by adding a zip tie right here at the end, really, really tight. That's not gonna make it through the hole. The stress is gonna be on the zip tie and the wires instead of the electrical connections. Also, we're gonna make these connections and insulate them one at a time because we don't want 2 live power wires stripped and exposed at once. Okay, we should be getting some kind of voltage in the high 40s here. Okay, we're gonna check our little XT60. Yes! 46.7 volts. That means this battery could use a little bit of charging, but it's working. Okay, now for the scary part, testing everything on the bench before we dig into this bicycle. So, moment of truth, we're gonna connect the power wire here. Can we turn on the screen? Oh, comes right on. Okay, now I think I have the throttle connected. We're not gonna connect this on the bike, but it's an easy way to test this motor on the bench. Oh yeah! Now that doesn't look like it's spinning that fast, but when connected to a drivetrain, that can make the bike go 20 miles an hour, which is what we want. And because the battery was modified right here on Berm Peak, it is now a Burmacell battery. Okay, we are back in business, but I've never actually mounted a mid-drive before, so there's gonna be a little bit of a learning curve here. So the instructions just kind of show you what it should look like if it's right, but they don't tell you what to do. If it's not, they included spacers, and so I'm assuming I need to get these spacers right so that the exposed axle on the left side is 11 millimeters. Close enough. So once all that hardware is in, you can still sort of move the motor, and so they want to stop it from rotating, and they give you a little piece to do that. Check it out. You spin the wheel. You hear it hitting the brake pad? Exact spoke that I would need to tighten to make it straight again. It is completely detached. The spoke is not broken. It is the spoke nipple that is broken. So we're gonna have to get inside this wheel and see if it's salvageable. Hopefully we can just replace the nipple and the wheel is straight and everything works again. It's the wrong color, but it works. On a wheel like this, spoke nipples go in from inside the wheel, so unfortunately, we gotta take it apart. So to get in there, this rim tape is gonna have to come off. And there we are. Sometimes a piece of the spoke nipple is inside the rim, but I don't hear any rattling sound, so it must have fallen out. So you want to get the spoke back in the hole there, and then we're going to screw it on loosely. Spoke is back on, but it's not tightened yet, and you can see there's a jump in the rim. You want to tighten the opposite side to pull it, and if you look at the way spokes are mounted, they're mounted in a triangle. So if you tighten this side, it pulls the rim this way. So as we move this gauge in, we're gonna keep tackling the biggest bends in the rim until we get to the smallest ones and it's dead straight. Now we hear stuff inside the rim. Ha ha! And it's straight again. So I was about to install the shifter and I realized that somebody cut these handlebars down to like Brooklyn width. Like there's not even a place to mount the shifter. So let's go find some new handlebars. Okay. This should do. Oscar, these handlebars are gonna be for towing pups, like you. They're significantly wider, a lot more handlebar space, so that's good. It's rare that grips don't just fly right off from that. Freaking like cold welded onto this. That explains it. I've been having a heck of a time trying to get the shifting working, and the chain line here is just way out of whack. I wouldn't expect any derailleur to be able to handle this. I'm gonna go against the instructions and actually move this whole mid-drive this way. Sometimes you have to make the right call because you just know how things are supposed to work, and this is not working. Okay, I haven't clamped all this down yet, but I can pedal the bike and see if this makes it work better. Oh, that's a night and day difference. It doesn't just shift better now, it shifts perfectly, and that's important. That's what we need, because a mid-drive is gonna put all this power at the back of the bike. That's why I chose a steel cassette and a 9-speed drivetrain with a heavy chain. I think it's worth the trade-off in this case, but that chain line would have caused us some serious problems. So from here, we're gonna get into the wiring and the electronics. That battery has me worried. I don't know how we are going to mount it here, but I've got some ideas. Let's start 3D printing. This battery was originally meant for the Revo, and so they had built some kind of a rail system and a lock to make it fit into place. We don't have that kind of technology here, but we can 3D print some stuff to kind of hold it centered, and then we can use a strap to hold it down. This channel over here is going to be how we locate the battery in place. Then we're going to use the bottle cage mount and double-sided adhesive. This is like really in place, but it wouldn't stay put if the bike crashed. And so we're gonna be using Volley straps to hold it in place, and then the 3D printed mounts are gonna keep it from moving anywhere else. It's as polished as it's gonna get here at Burn Peak. Everything's connected, everything's installed. It's kind of the moment of truth to see if this turns on and works. On. Okay, we should just have to pedal it. Oh! Immediately! Let's turn up the assist mode to speed mode. Wow! Oh, gotta stop that squeaking. Probably clean up the rims, but all right, let's pedal up. Oh yeah, but we're still doing work. It's in speed mode. There's actually turbo. Oh, yeah, turbo. You're even doing a little work in turbo, but on tour mode? Yeah, it's like you're getting exercise and the torque sensing is really good. But this looks like absolute poop. We're gonna have to do some work. All right, back on the stand, but actually, I have to know what this thing weighs. 40 pounds on the dot. That's pretty good for an e-bike. But now we need to dig into the whole mess of wires and connectors that are making this bike run and make it look presentable. I made a bunch of these guys for the motor controller wire. It's curved to fit onto the frame with some double-sided adhesive, and it's got a little zip tie holder here for the cable next to it. Our down tube's all cleaned up, but I left all the excess wire up at the front of the bike because I think I have a solution to hide it all. I 3D printed this little shroud that snaps onto the stem and gives me a little space inside of it to bundle wires. And for the battery cable over here, I made this shroud, which is gonna neatly route it towards the back of the bike. It appears the firmware is locked on this, and so I can't change it from kilometers per hour to miles per hour. The rest of the world is gonna think that's something stupid to do anyway. Let's just stare at it. So it looks good. We went through great efforts to make sure that all the wires were hidden and it looked polished, not like a DIY e-bike. He's got a custom Burmacell battery, and perhaps best of all, the head shock, which is super smooth when you're going over bumps. But now we've got to test it and see how well it tows. Not bad, especially on this particular mid-drive. It is pedal assist. Unless you are pushing down to climb a hill or get started, it's just like riding a normal bicycle. So if you want to exercise, I would highly recommend this. But it's not gonna leave you hanging if you get to a big hill or you're towing a dog. Barely moving right now, but we got a trailer behind us. I'm gonna push on the pedals. It gives you all the torque you need, and then it lets off. And then it's you doing the power. So this thing feels really good. You're actually driving the gears, and so you can tow uphill. It doesn't matter how much weight is back there, but it's there if he needs it. And speaking of Kennedy, we've got to get this bike to him and his dog so he can start using it. Okay, we're at the vet's office to surprise Kennedy with his new bike. Normally you call when you're outside and the vet tech comes out and meets you. So we're gonna put the bike in the parking spot and surprise him. Now currently, Kennedy has 3 rescue dogs. Roy had no home before Kennedy took him in, and Judy lived among 100 other dogs and she had parasites and anemia. And Sparky's owners couldn't take care of him with a badly broken leg that needed to be amputated. Sparky especially sure could use some trailer time with his dad. And in a moment, that'll be possible, all while their dad gets some cardio.
Are we ready?
We're ready, everything's in place.
You want to call him or?
Yeah, I'm gonna call him.
Okay.
Okay, the bike's outside, yeah. Just tell him it's like a nail trim, it's spot 3.
Oh my gosh! Holy crap!
Do you even know what you're looking at here?
I have no idea.
Well, give it a pedal and you'll see. Here.
Ride the bike. This is awesome. Thank you.
That's so cool. Do you need some weight in there to see what it's gonna feel like?
I know what it's gonna feel like. I was towing her on the other bike.
So you have a dog trailer?
We have one, but it didn't connect very easily.
Well, it'll probably work with this hitch.
Okay.
You could use this trailer, but we could get you hooked up with your dog hitch. This is just an old trailer I had. After adjusting the height of the seat, I gave Kennedy a crash course on shifting, and the bike was his. He told me there's already a camping trip in the works entirely by bike with his dogs. I love bike builds that are challenging, fun, and filled with purpose. This was one of my favorites. It looks like a 90s e-bike to the extent that they ever existed. And I learned a lot. I've since ordered some programming tools for flashing e-bike controllers. And when Kennedy needs his first tune-up, I'll have what I need to reprogram the controller to read the right wheel size and show the correct speed. Until then, another battery is out of the landfill and another bike is back on the road. I hope you had fun with me today on this build. I hope you learned something, and if you didn't, I hope you at least found this video entertaining. Thanks for riding with me today, and I'll see you next time.